Hey there, everybody. I'm back. Not doing any VR today. Honestly, I'm just so mentally exhausted by the day, but we'll get into that. So, let's go ahead and get started with the daily update, shall we? Or should I say the daily diet update? Well, I weighed myself this morning, and I weighed like 154 pounds. Oh, I gotta be honest with you. For some reason, when I'm looking at the lens of the camera, my eyes get irritated. I don't know why. I think it might be the metal reflection around the rim of the camera that's doing it. Whatever the case is, for some reason, I cannot stare at it for longer than a few minutes. I don't know why this came up all of a sudden, because in my previous videos when I recorded, I had no issue staring at the camera and recording. But suddenly now I have this issue. So, you know what? I'm just gonna stare just above and hope that works out just fine. Or, I don't know why it's even causing me so much strain in the first place. I've been doing it before and I had no issues, but now I do. Very strange. Well, anyways, let's go on. I weigh 154 today, and I'm just going to look at the wall right now because that calms my eyes. It's a nice deep green. So yeah, I weighed 154 today, and I did some kind of exercise. It mostly boiled down to some basic stretches like reaching for my toes and, some squats and some walking around the neighborhood for about a half hour, and then walking with my mom and sister doing groceries later in the day. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened. What else can I really say? What did I eat? Right. Okay. In the morning, I had the Last Atkins protein strawberry cream bar, which was pretty good, with a cup of coffee. I then had 2 toasts, keto toasts, with seeds in them. I put butter on those, which was pretty good. And then I had 2 eggs fried and 3 fried slices of bacon, which was also very good, and another cup of coffee. Later in the afternoon, I had an A&W Zero Sugar. I had 2 bags of my protein Quest spicy chips. And I had a smash burger that I cooked like how I cooked yesterday, with steaming it under a closed lid for the first 3 minutes before continuing to cook it on the other side, with some fried onions and steamed mushrooms. After that, I did have a keto ice cream bar that was in the freezer that hadn't been touched in quite a while. Next, later, after we got home from the grocery store, I had a, what do you call that? I don't know why I'm suddenly forgetting it. Almond milk, with cocoa and allulose mixed in, with a bit of half and half as well, with some whipped cream. A little bit of pepper jack cheese slice, and 1 slice of Black reinforced beef meat, lunch meat. And I think, oh yeah, and a Fresca drink too. So that's what I had. Did I have anything else? I think I had a strawberry and a beef stick from the grocery store we bought it from. Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much what I ate today. So we have the weight, the exercise, and the food. What did I eat? Or, sorry, what did I do for today? What was the daily update? Well, I'll tell you what it was. When I woke up, I made a break for the den. I turned on the TV. I wanted to see if there was something that would capture my interest to watch. When I was looking for something to watch, I found a video made by a YouTuber called Big Boss about a game studio, Bethesda, and all the controversies that they were involved with when they worked on the Fallout franchise with Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, which I remember very vividly because I lived through all that controversy from like 2014 all the way to like 2019. It was quite a tumultuous time for the studio and that franchise. And the video did a great job breaking down why. I really enjoyed that. I had my protein bar and coffee while watching that. And then when I was done with that and the video was still going, I was pretty hungry. So I made my breakfast and I ate that with another cup of coffee and continued watching. When I was done, I realized, oh, I probably should continue work on my little Infinite Jest adaptation that I'm trying to do. So I wanted to do something a little differently. And what I did was that I went on Higgsfield, since my subscription to that platform will be running out by the 7th of this month. So I wanted to see if I could squeeze anything more useful out of that service before I lose it. I tried to use their popcorn feature, which I tried finding a video about explaining how to use it on YouTube. My big issue, though, with Higgsfield popcorn is the fact that even though if you post characters and you want the characters to be consistent through each shot, the platform is extremely finicky when it comes to having your environment the same and having your characters where they're placed in the shot the same. So, for example, like I put in the characters I want in the shot, I put in the environment I want in the shot with like little references I generated through ChatGPT's image generation. And then I say, okay, the character's doing this, the characters that I sit across are doing that, and go. And when it generates it, it switches the characters into different spots, and it has them doing things that I don't want them to be doing. And even though the final generations, in my opinion, were fairly impressive in terms of the fact that they just looked really cinematic and believable, like they genuinely looked like screenshots from a real movie. The problem mostly arises from A, there's still some AI glitchiness if you know where to look in the shots, and B, the consistency of location, characters, and environment is constantly disrupted. And I spent pretty much the entirety of the day racking my brain around this program, even when my mom arrived, we said hello, and then my mom and my sister were talking about things, and then my sister was doing research on card tricks. I was spending all my time trying to get to grips with Higgsfield. I wanted to really get the most out of this because I paid for it, and I wanted to see if I could get something usable out of it. And to tell you the truth, ultimately didn't really work out. no matter how many prompts I sent in, no matter how direct I was with my descriptions, I even went so far as using ChatGPT to describe the scenes for me in a way where I believe that there's no way Higgsfield could misinterpret this, and it still did. So ultimately, it was just a big failure, and it sucked. I did not like that. I decided to go for a walk to vent out my frustrations, and I wanted to listen to a new video from a YouTube channel called the Zeta Files, where it's this guy who basically goes through different alien and UFO reports and talks about the validity of them and how believable they are. And I do enjoy those videos because it's fun exploring the unknown. It's fun exploring fantastic tales and seeing if there's any truth to them or not. And I like that. The problem with this one was it was one of the more dry videos. It was one of the more boring videos because even though it was like firsthand testimony in Spain of people who say they encountered Nordics and people like beings with pear shapes and big almond shaped eyes. Ultimately, it just didn't really capture my interest because it was just so vague with the descriptions, and it just seemed so disconnected with what it was trying, what the witness supposedly saw. They did not have any proof either, no photographs. All it was firsthand witness testimony. And ultimately, even though they say they believe they saw something that one might deem as, fantastical, the proof is in the pudding. And if there's no pudding, there's no proof. And if there's no proof, it's not a really compelling case now, is it? My favorite cases are the ones where, oh, wow, there's a mark left behind from a supposed abduction, like a triangular scar or maybe a little implant or something, or maybe there's a photograph that can't be proven to be falsified that could have some legitimacy to it. Things like that, are where I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Now I'm engaged. But for the most part, if it's just someone saying, I saw something crazy, but they don't have anything to really back it up other than they and a couple of other people saw too, I don't know. It's hard for me to really give that my approval. Such a shame. Well, anyways, after my half-hour walk listening to that, I arrived home, and my sister wanted to show me some card tricks. She wanted to show one where I choose a card, and then she shuffles and flips through the cards, and then she asks me, "Is this your card?" And she has me do it, so I can kind of have the magic touch myself. And the first trick was kind of impressive. The only problem was I overcounted one of the cards when I was eventually trying to choose the one that was mine. And so, yeah, that was a shame. Another thing that was a shame was that I didn't know the name of the cards. So when she asked, which card did you choose, I had to be really descriptive with it, so with what the card was. So that was kind of, awkward, but I guess I'm not really a cards player, if you couldn't tell, based on my previous videos where I haven't really ever played any cards before, if you watched them. So yeah, this was sort of an awkward but engaging experience, I would say, because she did teach me how to shuffle, and I did manage to shuffle my cards. I was able to, use these as the latches and these fingers to hold the other ends, and then my thumbs to flip around and flatten the deck. And overall, I know it's really basic stuff, but it's complex for me because I don't really play cards. So fact I got that lesson down was pretty cool, not gonna lie. Afterwards, I decided to attempt to continue working on the Infinite Jest adaptation today, using Higgsfield's image editing, where I would mark like a character that I didn't want in the shot, and I would use the in-paint mode to say, put this character in there instead. Because there were some shots from Higgsfield that I actually kind of liked, and I dug the visual language of. But the big problem came down to the fact that, well, it just didn't look very compelling at all. What I mean, well, sorry, that sounds confusing. I thought it looked good, but it didn't look compelling. What I mean to say was, it didn't look like it was what I wanted it to look like, so I tried to make it look like how I wanted it to look like, but ultimately it failed on that front because it either made the character look like they were obviously like pasted in there, or it made the environment look unnatural and phony, and it ultimately just was a complete failure of a program that was extremely frustrating and unwieldy to use. I don't know if I'm ever going to use it again, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it was a real bad. Oh well. Eventually, I just got bored with trying to work with it, so I was browsing through YouTube trying to find something, and apparently there was like a video recommended to me where like a boy apparently was able to discover like things about CERN and how it was affecting our realities and creating like parallel universes and things like that, where we misremember like movie quotes and scenes from films. And I do find that stuff interesting, like, you know, the fact that there might be parallel universes next to us. You know, people always joke around with the Berenstain and Bernstein universe and all that stuff. But ultimately, this video kind of was dragging on, so at first I was like, ooh, I like this kind of stuff, where it's exploring the mysterious, the fantastical, and the unique. And it did this under the premise that the boy who was exploring these ideas had disappeared, meaning that, like, oh, what, was he taken by the CIA to be under a training program? What? But it turns out, like, the person who made the video showed, like, a photo of him now, where he's, like, a young man, and he seems to be doing fine. So overall, I would say that, I don't know, this video, I know they do those titles to get you to click on the video like, why did this boy disappear? But he didn't disappear. He just grew up, I guess. So it was false advertising, and I do not appreciate that with any YouTube video. I like it when a YouTube video is just saying what it is and lets you decide if you want to watch it or not. So I was like, wow, so this tricked me, and I don't like that, so this YouTube channel, I don't even remember the name, they ain't getting any more clicks from me. And most of the video was just a bunch of, like, gobbledygook and, like, droning on anyways. So, yeah, not something I'm a big fan of. Afterwards, I then decided to continue watching that Fallout video. I actually didn't finish it. I stopped it in the middle after I was done eating breakfast to try to do my Infinite Jest adaptation with Higgsfield. And so I was going to continue at a later date, and that later time was later in the day, where I was watching it. I was getting hungry, so I decided to get some chips and eat those. And then when I finished those, I was like, I'm still hungry. So I made the smash burger with the onions and the mushroom. We only had one more slice of bread at the time, so I just took that, put some mayonnaise and mustard on, and put the patty on top and the toppings, and it was pretty good. And I also decided to have another bag of Quest protein chips. Probably shouldn't have done that. Probably went overboard with that, but I guess I was really bored at the time, and my brain felt fried from trying to work with Higgsfield. So I ate that while watching the video and drinking a A&W Zero Sugar. And then when I was done with all of that, I decided to take a keto ice cream bar and eat that while finishing the video. And yeah, when that was done, my mom arrived and she asked if me and my sister wanted to go out to the grocery store and pick up food to eat for the next 2 weeks. So we both agreed, and I got dressed and she got ready, and we left all together to the store to pick up some stuff. We were all exploring ideas of what restaurant potentially we could go to together for my middle sister's birthday, which is coming up soon this Tuesday. And we think there might be a cool like breakfast place we could check out that we were thinking about in the car. So that was pretty cool. Then we arrived in the gas station and my mom filled the car up. Then we were listening to music, and she thought the music was going to continue playing when she left the car, but when she got out, the music stopped. So I guess the music's tied to my mom's presence in the car due to the key fob, maybe. I just think that's kind of interesting. Well, after the gas was topped in, we went to the grocery store. We got every food we could. We kept to our diet. So, vegetables, meats, and nuts and seeds, cheese, keto-approved bread, things like that. And when we were done getting everything, we rung it all up in a self-checkout, put it all back in the cart, drove out. We got 3 large boxes that we could put the food into to make it easier to bring into the house when we arrived. And we drove back. We brought the food in. My sister was freshening up the fridge. My mom was making a soup that apparently got really spicy. And I was eating a meat stick while trying to work on the Higgsfield project, and it was giving me an extremely hard time. I did not like that. I eventually thought, well, okay, what if I took the character, what if I took a scene, like a shot I liked, and just asked Higgsfield to change the lighting? And so I did that, and it did a good enough job. Did it do a pay $50 a month good enough job? No, not really. But it gave me something that was kind of interesting, I guess. But overall, I just kind of, I don't know, I think I'm probably going to give up on Higgsfield. It's not giving me the results I want, which is such a shame. But yeah, after my mom made the soup and my sister put the stuff away, I wanted some hot chocolate, so I got our almond milk, our half and half, cacao powder, and a tablespoon of allulose monk fruit, mixed all that together, and drank it. I put it in a pan that had like a film on it that I tried to wash off. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna avoid making food in this pan because it just gave me a weird taste to my hot chocolate that I didn't really like. And after that, we decided to watch a movie on HBO Max. And this new movie we watched, it was called Strawberry Mansion. And this was a really interesting film, I will say. The way it was shot was really interesting. They kept like this really obvious film grain effect. They kept a lot of traditional effects like stop motion, animation, actors in like big practical like puppet suits like wolf suit and like rat suits and things like that. And it was just like an extremely creative and imaginative experience that I really enjoyed, actually. I really liked this film. It reminded me of those magical like 1980s fantasy films that I grew up watching back when I was a kid. I mean, I'm not old enough to have grown up in the 80s, but I am old enough to have had like these old movies been shown to me through like taking them from the library, renting the DVDs from the library or from a store and watching them on DVD. And yeah, these films were just really magical. They were really fun and inventive. Things like The Never Ending Story and um, what else? The Goonies. But this movie was really different. It was like, and the premise was really interesting. It's about this guy who works for the government, where apparently you're asked to audit people's dreams and tax people's dreams in this future that takes place apparently in like 2033. And in this future, apparently there's advertising that is beamed directly into people's minds, really subtly, which causes people to make, causes profits to go up for corporations. And this is like really a story about a guy who begins to find true love in a really odd and strange way that, while makes you a little uncomfortable, it kind of, you get swept up in the imagination and the creativity of the story that you kind of go beyond the uncomfortableness and go into the just basking in its visual splendor and it just taking chances. Like it is a really out there film, and I really enjoy the fact that it just goes for the weird, it goes for the creative. And the crazy thing was, after we watched the movie, I wanted to see what the budget of the film was. This movie cost $200,000 to make, which I gotta be honest, I was surprised by, because 200,000 is really not that much money for any movie at all. But they were able to make the movie feel big and imaginative and creative, probably with extensive planning and pre-production to really nail the look, tone, and feel of this feature, because it had a really strong vision, it had a really good atmosphere, and it knew what it was trying to do. And I think that's key when you're making any movie, whether it's a small budget or a big budget. If you know exactly what you want to do with the project, then your budget isn't going to be too big of an issue, because you'll know exactly how to work with it, because you know exactly what you want. And that's exactly the vibe I got from this film with the two directors who were involved in it. And yeah, me and my mom, we wanted to watch a little behind the scenes like interview with them, and they basically said that they were inspired by various things, like VHS tapes, renting movies, and just dreams in general. They wanted the film to make you feel like you were in a dream-like state. And then we wanted to, me and my mom, we did a little bit of research on what other films have these people done. And they've done films that are just like completely under the radar. No one really knows about them. Like they're really like just completely like off the map kind of movies, which made me even more intrigued by them, because I feel like in today's modern world we're so saturated with IP, with superheroes, with established brands and names, and seeing something that is just taking a chance and being so creative and human and full of like heart and meaning to the people who made it was a really refreshing and spiritually fulfilling experience that I wasn't expecting I was going to get out of. And there will be scenes in this movie that will stick with me till the day I die, in terms of just how raw their emotion was and how raw the creativity was. I really liked this film. If you want to see something that's just really strange, really weird, but also really creative and unique, definitely give this movie a shot. It has a lot of heart. I fully recommend. Well, afterwards, um, after me, my mom, and my sister all watched this, my mom decided to go to bed. I decided to listen to a podcast called Weaponize, where a guy was being interviewed about like being involved with the whole UFO thing, but I'm forgetting at what capacity, because I was like kind of splitting my attention to what's going on with that and my little project. I think I finally figured something out that I think will be good path going forward, and that's that I opened a new chat log with ChatGPT. I told it exactly what I wanted to do. I want to make like a cinematic retelling of the first scene of Infinite Jest. I gave it all of the images of every character that was generated for the project, and then I gave the environment where the project's going to take place in, and then I basically just say, draw a storyboard frame. I send it, describe exactly who the characters are, what they're doing. I even mark the characters in the storyboard frame. This is Hal Incandenza. This is his uncle, C.T. Charles, and this is what's going on. And this is the first time that I've gotten ChatGPT's image generation to be responsive to my requests. I think maybe what I needed to do was lay the chessboard out with all the pieces and the environment and everything and the characters, so it knew what I wanted, what characters were going to be in the shots, and what approach we were going to take. So then once it understood everything before we started the game, now when I send my storyboards and ask them to be regenerated to look more like what I expect, it's more adherent to my commands. And that's really nice to see, because I've been banging my head against this like AI image gen stuff for this little project for a little while now, and like it's kind of been driving me nuts, especially today. But finally getting a coherent response from this program, because I was able to direct it in a way where it understood exactly what I wanted, was a pretty gratifying experience, and I really liked that. Really enjoyed it for sure. I even generated 2 scenes with Google Gemini. The first 2 scenes I decided to generate with it ever for this version of the story. I already generated quite a few scenes with Gemini of the beginning of the story, but that was without really being adherent to the novel and the environments and what the characters are supposed to look like and all that. Of course, though, there is one character in the novel that I completely skipped over what their look is supposed to be. Apparently one of the deans has like a freckled scalp, and I just completely blanked out on that, so I think we're gonna have to add that in like the image editing. I hope that's not gonna mess up any future generations in that chat, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, after I was done with that, seeing those 2 finished generated scenes, which one of them I had to generate 3 times because it was like getting it wrong, where the character was supposed to be talking in the scene had to take his glasses out, put them on, and read a file to our main character. But the previous shots, when he put the glasses on and started reading, the glasses disappeared after like 3 seconds and didn't appear again, so I had to tell it, keep the glasses on. Then the next generation, he put his glasses on, but then the guy next to him started talking and then taking the file that was next to him and then reading it. So it ignored me on that front, and then I had to say, make it so the dean on the left, who is smiling at the start of the frame, is the only one reading, and also make sure he's always wearing his glasses after he puts them on. And then after I did that, I finally got a good enough shot that I thought, okay, that works. Now, will I use these shots in the final generation project? That will remain to be seen. I mean, I don't want to burn through my credits like crazy. I want, like, every single time I generate to know for a fact that my credits are going to go to something that will be a satisfying completion of a scene. But as it stands now, it's coming along pretty well. I'm storyboarding it. I'm sending the storyboards to the image generation on ChatGPT. The thing I love about ChatGPT, when you do the $20 subscription plan, I always unsubscribe after I subscribe because I don't like the idea of perpetually paying for a service unless I know for a fact I'm going to get some use out of it. So when I subscribe knowing I'm going to use it, at least for a month, I immediately unsubscribe because I know, like, I'm definitely not going to continue using this unless, like, another big project like this rolls along. So there you go. But yeah, just putting this whole thing together and seeing it slowly come to fruition is pretty satisfying and fun, and I am enjoying it a lot. It's giving me a lot of pleasure just, taking a book that I know is like a bit, weighty in its presentation, its themes, the way it's written, and trying to visualize it in a way that makes sense or is engaging is a fun challenge that I really enjoy. And I'm just gonna continue doing this for as long as I have credits on Google's VO3 video generator, and as soon as that's gone, then I'm just gonna make this probably my last AI video generation project, probably ever. I want to spend more of my future efforts and energy on making my own like animations and little productions and things like Brain Jam, for example. And I want to focus more on like handcrafted arts in the future. I'm just doing this because like it's something I've always wanted to do a little Infinite Jest adaptation, like even if it's just the opening scene of the novel and then posting it and seeing what the reaction would be like. And it's been a lot of fun. So, yeah. And then after all of that, I was like, oh, I need to make my video. So here it is. Well, that's pretty much going to do it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this. And I will see you tomorrow. Take care and have a great morning, day, or night. Goodbye. Goodbye.